Welcome to the Toke&Trans. What do I say? Welcome to the Toke&Trans podcast, where we talk life, love, and getting high. Grab a J and join us. We do not condone the consumption of illicit activities with anyone under the age of 21.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. What's going on? I hope you're having a fantastic day today. We are here with Beau Dubois.
We're always here with Beau Dubois.
As always, every week. Every week we're here with Beau Dubois. But Beau is here with us today, and we appreciate him every week. We also have a little bit of news before we get into Masculinity episode. We actually have merch available.
Oh my God.
Merch is totally available. Shirts like this, shirts like Toke&Trans, shirts like Lone Wolf District, shirts like Beau's specific collection that he drew and then we brought to life with animation and put it on a shirt. And their quality merch. See why our merch is different in the link below. And yeah, so we want to make sure you know that. But today, what are we talking about, Beau?
Masculinity.
Masculinity, what it means to be a man, right? As masculinity as a trans guy in today's society. That's what we're talking about today. So first of all, we'll just kick this right off. We just need to redefine masculinity from the bottom.
I think, yeah, absolutely. First of all, do you know how many times a day I hear that I'm not a man?
Just because you're not masculine?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty masculine, but I understand that I'm also very feminine for a man,
yeah, exactly. We're running into these problems already immediately.
Right, we're already here.
It's not.
It's like, why am I feminine for a man?
Right.
Why can't I just be? And I'm not saying that I hate it, but you can tell that I'm gay. But I also do hate it because I'm bisexual. And
so there's there's both there. There's a love-hate relationship.
I'm in a monogamous long-term gay relationship. So that's why I don't hate it. But if I was single, I think I would hate it because ladies interact with me as if I'm a gay man. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not mad at them for interacting with me in that way. But in that, I have been eliminated as a romantic option.
See,
because they assume that I'm
immediately.
Right. I'm like, oh, and they're like, yes, honey, queen, slay, yes. And I'm like, I want your number.
But I must have given you a different vibe there. Was that
right?
Was that you? Was it us?
I'd like to buy you a drink, ma'am.
Exactly. Unless you say that. Yeah. And even then, it's just like this whole thing that and as a trans person, I feel like a lot of us have experienced that feeling of we want to be a real man, right? We want to be able to feel affirmed being a man, but also not have to submit to bad habits that are associated with being a man in the society.
Yeah. Well, I think that transness, well, don't get me wrong, there are very misogynistic trans men. But I feel like for the most part, at least if we're comparing trans men and cis men side by side, there's kind of an inherent lack of that because so often we've experienced misogyny ourselves.
Right.
And we understand it from an internal level that we know how to act as men because we know how we would have wanted men to react to us. So
Bo.
I find myself
that is
walking.
good. That is so true, Bo.
Right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
keep going.
So I find myself walking on sidewalks at night, and if I see a woman coming from the other direction, I'll immediately cross the road so she doesn't have to worry about me. I know I'm a big man now, and I look like a big man, and that's scary to a woman by herself. If I'm walking behind her, I'll say something like, "Oh my God, I love your shoes." You know, like, so she, number one, I've announced that I'm here if she didn't know that I was. Number two, I'm like, hey, I'm gay. You know?
Right.
You're
I'm trying to let her know.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm a safe person, and I'm not gonna bother you while I'm walking behind you. Yeah. So these are things that I do all the time. And I it's not like I learned to do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of I had watched a woman cross the street because I was coming towards her. Right. And it might have been because of any other number of reasons. It might not have been because of me, but in my head, I overthought that and overthought that and overthought that, thinking that I was intimidating her. Yeah. And so I was like, thinking it, like if that were me pre-transition, I've crossed the street many a time because I've seen a scary looking guy coming my way, Definitely. Right. And so that's just that I just kind of try to pay that courtesy now, being a man. And also maybe setting an example while I'm doing it.
I mean, for real. Yeah, I think I agree. Like we have an interesting perspective. Like we do know what it's like to be a woman, or to be
to live as a woman, at least
to live as a woman. Exactly. We know the struggles. Like I can understand my wife's cramps and what she's going through in that week so much more than a cis man would be able to, because of the fact that I know what it's like. I remember that feeling. I remember being in bed and it hurting so bad. And it's a lot of different things like that make me thankful to be a trans guy. I think
absolutely.
It's like one of the things that I try to hang on to the positives, because and stay focused on those. So that's one of the things that I love, is that I'm able to be close with my wife and understand my wife in a lot of different ways.
And in that way, I think that, I'm just going to say it, Aaron, cancel me, but I think trans men are better than cis men.
Yeah. Everyone's seen that hashtag that's going around that trans guys do it better.
I'm not saying it's wrong. Listen,
we know what they deserve, and we know what it's like to be taken advantage of, and we're like not about that. That's not the kind of men we are.
We know what it's like to have the frustration of not being able to achieve orgasm and not being asked or communicated with during intimate times, so much that your pleasure's completely ignored. We know how that feels. And we can find the clitoris.
Bo is going into full, here's exactly why.
I will find it.
Trans men do it.
I know where it is.
I know exactly where it is. Look.
And I know what to do with it once I get there.
That's the second half of the battle. My God. That's exactly it. We just and there's no reason that we can't redefine what masculinity means, and that it means that how much we care about the other people. Like, we can be more than just toxic.
Yes, absolutely. I think that there's this this connection socially. Masculine, male, man, but women can also be masculine. Non-binary people can also be masculine. And so I think that the issue with like toxic masculinity and all that, is that that's when it becomes toxic, when it's only about men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like masculinity, like what is it to be masculine? Like to have a beard, to be sweaty and strong, to know how to fix a car. Like
Right.
these are all random fucking things that women can also do and be. And for some reason it's attractive in men and unattractive in women. I mean, not to me, but
they're historically thought to be.
Right.
Say.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So like what the fuck? It's like these gender roles are like fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
It is weird. And you're right. It's a bunch of random things that are like, this is what men do, and this is what men do. And like you said, they're not connected. Like, what's going on here?
Right. Like, who fucking said that? And something while I was like discovering my own masculinity, after realizing that I'm a trans man, I did a lot of like, I very much was trying to be like hyper masculine because of the way my voice sounded and how I looked before, several years on testosterone. Excuse me. I wore a lot of button ups and like dad shorts and like stuff that like, khakis.
Went out of your way to
boat shoes, Oxfords.
Something other than would you say that was other than what you would usually be wearing? Like what you would normally would choose? You chose something outside of what you wanted to choose.
Yes.
So you would pass.
Absolutely. Right. Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Thank you for explaining that. I was having such a hard time.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I know that feeling. Yeah.
That's what it was. And like I even swapped out my wallet. I had this pretty baby blue pearlescent wallet. It was a woman's wallet. I bought it in the women's section, whatever. Sure. It's a fucking wallet. It's not for a man or a woman. It's a fucking wallet. Anybody can have a wallet. But at the time, I'm thinking society needs me to be a man, so I need to be a man to society. And so I traded in my pretty wallet that I loved for a boring brown leather Dockers wallet because it was giving me so much dysphoria to go to pay for something and have this glittery wallet. I'm like, oh, they probably don't think I'm a man because of this wallet.
Right. Like you feel like it outed you, even though it.
Yeah.
It likely didn't.
Right. They weren't perceiving me as a man to begin with. It had nothing to do with anything else. It certainly wasn't my wallet. It was because of my genetics. I wasn't on testosterone yet. I looked and sounded like a woman. Right. And I am not cross with the many cashiers who have misgendered me. It's not their fault.
Right.
And it's not their business to know. Would it have been nice to use a gender neutral greeting and ask my pronouns? Maybe. But if we're being realistic, that's not where we are right now. And it'd be silly of me to expect every cashier I encounter to be educated in that way. For a fucking 60-second interaction, not worth it. And I've misgendered cis people before. I think we all have.
Yeah.
You see someone from behind with dark hair and you're like, ma'am, they turn around. Sorry, sir.
Oh my God.
I've misgendered people on the phone because I had
it guts an older as a woman. Trans person because you feel you feel it almost probably worse than they do. I don't know what it would be like on their side, but I'm saying it's got to be, pretty terrible. For me, in that situation, for me as a trans person, I'm like, man, those pronouns are fucking important. And they're like, what's a pronoun? Which one's the pronoun? Is that like an adjective? And I'm like, kinda. Let me explain.
Right. Yeah. So it's not. I don't blame anybody. It's just like I was trying to do something to make it easy for people to say the right things to me, but
Right.
I needed to be on testosterone to look the way that I wanted to look.
Right.
Before that was going to happen. That was just something I had to deal with. Yeah. And once I started looking like a man, like anybody could just look at my face and say he,
Right.
no problem. That was when I started dressing how I wanted and keeping society out of it, because I didn't need to anymore. It was done.
Yeah.
I look like this now. I have a beard now. My voice sounds like this now.
Yeah.
So I don't have to wear the button up to make up for that. Now I can wear the tube top and the silk robe.
You can wear what you want to wear. Yeah.
Right.
I remember having that feeling. And I would constantly walk around with my shoulders shrugged up like this. So that it made my, so it made my shoulders look like this now, but before testosterone. So now I instead of having to shove them up all the time, it was like, I'd probably say 2 months on T is when I started to notice my shoulder muscle getting a little higher on my back.
Nice.
And it was so affirming, and it was really nice. And like, yeah, I just think that, like, but as a person, like, you shouldn't have to worry about passing in other people's perspective. And it seems like but it's hard to not to want to do it naturally also, because it's kind of like linked to the word affirming at the same time, even though it's may not be the best.
Which is, so in a perfect world, everyone would interact with you the way that your friends would interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
They would introduce themselves with their pronouns, their name and pronouns, which would, invite you to introduce with your name and pronouns. Right. Mm-hmm. We would have periodic pronoun check-ins.
Sure.
We would, we would feel comfortable if we had multiple name changes because we're feeling out our name,
we're trying it. Yeah.
Right. So in a perfect world, that would be how people would interact with us, which in theory would be a lot more affirming than people assuming our gender by the way that we look and sound.
Yeah, especially for non-binary people. I feel like.
Yeah, for real. They get it the worst, I think.
Absolutely.
And God forbid you have a neo pronoun. That'll never get used, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's tricky.
Right. So, I think that because of that, the whole assuming someone's gender by how they look and sound is contributing to a lot of the dysphoria that we have, and a lot of the reason why, at least me personally, felt like I needed to dress that way, because I knew that people would look at me and assume that I was a woman instead of asking me what my pronouns were.
Right. And then you're trying to get them to guess correctly.
Right. And then if I was hemmed while I was wearing a dress, maybe I would have felt more comfortable wearing a dress during that time before I, started looking more like myself.
Right.
But that's not how the world works now. Hopefully one day in the future, but currently, because that's not how it works, placing your self-worth into how others perceive you is a really dangerous place to be. Of course, we understand it, but right. But as I would consider myself an elder, a trans elder.
Trans elder?
I'm 32.
We're not baby trans.
I'm going to be 32.
So
We're certainly not baby trans.
I don't know.
Maybe not an elder, maybe an uncle.
An uncle.
Maybe just an uncle.
Ooh, I like that.
As an uncle trans.
That's it. That's the one.
I've certainly gone through the whole shaky ground of depending on others to see me the way I need them to see me, but they're just not going to. If they don't, and they're not the type of people to learn,
right?
Then they're not gonna. And they won't until you start hormones, if that's on your path. And if it's not on your path, then it's going to be a frustration of life. And you're going to have a not very good time if you let that get you down.
Right.
It's not your fault that
But they're
people
uneducated.
Right. It's not your fault that people are uneducated, but
Yeah.
it is within your power to let that get to you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Did you ever like do the hyper masculine dressing thing, or was that kind of like always how you dressed?
Yeah, that was kind of just always how I dressed. I was like shorts. I was basketball shorts pretty much most of the time. And then when I would dress up, I would wear skinny, like tight girl jeans. And then, but that was like once every 6 to 12 months. And just to throw people off, I think, because that was the only time people would really like give me like affirmation, like, oh wow, you look really good today. Like no one would say that if I was in my basketball shorts or with like my hair the way that I thought I looked good, you know. So yeah, I was pretty masculine. And then I was actually at my cousin's house and I got my pants wet and I had to borrow a pair of shorts from, and my cousin was a boy and he had all he had was cargo shorts. And I was like, that's fine. Like they're like basketball shorts, just thicker. That'll work till I get home. And I put them on in my cousin's room because I was changing, looking in the mirror, and I was like, oh, okay. Cargo shorts, cargos it is. I'm getting some fucking cargo shorts.
I was so mad. I also had a cargo shorts phase.
You did?
Yes.
I still have a cargo shorts phase. I still have cargo shorts in there.
They're tactile. They're great. They're useful.
Oh my God. They're hot. They're hot. It's fine. That's it.
Gonna go on a safari?
Shit, man.
With your cargo shorts?
I'm not even gonna feed into your energy there. I'm not doing it. It's amazing and everyone loves cargo shorts. Give us your opinion on cargo shorts in the comments below. Please. Somebody back me up. Somebody
Hot or not?
Hot or not?
Toot it or boot it?
Well, I'm not booting it. I'm wearing them. They're mine. And that's my style. What about, have you experienced like male privilege?
I love that question. I don't know. I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I have yet.
Yeah.
I don't really do things.
I don't
really do things lately. So I'm not sure if I've experienced any male privilege yet.
Right. I mean, when we go out to eat and things, like Kayla will hand them the card when they bring us the check, and they will bring back the card with the pen and hand it to me. And Kayla will kind of just like look at them and look at me. And while they're standing there, I'll hand it over the food to Kayla to sign, and then she will hand it back to them. Just like there's a lot of like little situations like that between me and Kayla. I feel like.
Yeah.
Out in
Kayla's in charge of the finances for you too, right?
Correct. Kayla is the finance. So I'm pretty sure
it makes sense for her to be the one to pay.
Yeah. I mean, I have cards of mine in her wallet, like, so I don't know what card is going where. Like, she's, we work together on things, and that's one of her things that she does. But there's a lot of times that that Kayla kind of just looks at me and I'm like, ooh, yeah, definitely. I noticed that. That way more than probably a cis person would be able to identify, I think.
Yeah.
From me experiencing male privilege.
Right. It just, the situations that I've been in, I'm in a gay relationship. So
yeah.
With any interaction, like when we go out, it's like I can't tell because I'm with another man.
Right.
And when we go out with his sister and his sister's girlfriend, I still get mammed. So I don't know. I still get mammed.
It's so strange.
Last time we went out to Chinese food, the guy put my plate down in front of me and said, "Here you go, ma'am," or "sir." He like corrected himself, so I'm like, "Oh, that must have been just one of those things."
Yeah.
That I've done that before.
Right. And then in our brain, you're like going 1,000 millions mile an hour.
Right.
Like,
so I'm like, what?
analyzing the whole guy, looking for a Trump flag on his shirt. Analyzing the situation. Am I safe here? What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any Tim was also the one paying. So
right.
I just don't think I've experienced it yet.
Yeah.
Oh, but when I do.
Or that you thought you have. Like
right.
you being less scared now that you pass walking down the road.
Well, I don't know if I'm less scared.
No?
I'm more scared.
More scared now?
I'm more scared now.
Really?
Yeah, because I look like a man and I know this is like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to say it is what it is. I have this like horrible fear that some transphobe is going to find out that I'm trans from like my scars, or I don't know, maybe they beat me up and take my pants off. and then they can kill me in their heads, and then that's reason enough for them to kill me. I'm just so afraid.
Yeah, that's just your fear.
Because now it's like, well, I have these scars. People know that these are top surgery scars.
Oh, I would say a lot of people, but I wouldn't say everyone.
Right. And if somebody asked me, I'm going to say that I was in a horrible accident.
with a shark.
And tell them to leave me alone.
I'll say not your business.
But I've also worn trans tape in public for ever, and been shirtless with trans tape forever. So
yeah.
I don't know. I can't explain it to you. Maybe it's irrational. Maybe it's not irrational because trans people are exponentially more murdered every year than the last. But I feel like my presence makes the women around me safer.
Definitely.
And maybe also myself safer, but I don't feel safer because I don't know how much safer it's making me. I've never been attacked.
Right.
So, I'm not getting like I went from a 15% attack rating to 0,
Right, yeah. It's not like there's statistics
I don't know.
on it. Yeah.
Right.
No,
I don't know how likely I was before or how likely I am now to be attacked, but I do know that when I am out with my girlfriends, they feel safer, and I feel safer being there, looking like how I do and being there. Like I understand that looking like how I do now versus like me being another woman out with my girlfriends. I didn't feel the same safeness that I do now looking like how I do. Right. That was a lot of words.
No, but I mean, this is a podcast, Bo. Absolutely. We're trying to explain some really tough things, and some tough things to explain, some tough things to have words, some tough things to talk about while you're stoned. All kinds of tough things. But we are here to redefine what it means, right? We can make it better. Like every situation I find myself in that I can make it better, I'm going to try and do that, Right.
Exactly.
I've use my powers for good.
Exactly. I've been really trying to stay more focused when I'm like walking around. I usually keep my headphones on and tune out, but I keep seeing like what might be harassment, and it might not be, but I'm not getting the full context because of my headphones. And I don't want to be somebody to ignore something like that,
Right.
I very much believe in see something, say something.
Yeah.
And they might not have been harassments. It might not have been like that kind of
Those are the
situation. It might just have
worst. You
been
can't even tell.
right. It might have just been friends goofing off and I missed the beginning of the fake fight or something.
Right.
But if it was, and I just was like, oh, that must just be whatever, and then walked away, then I would feel so fucking bad. So Blair Imani shares a lot of great tips on like how to de-escalate situations and stuff. So I'm learning a lot from her, and like a lot of it is just interrupting people talking and just talking to the person that's being harassed, and like, so I have to be present,
Right. Yeah.
to know what the situation is before like inserting myself. And
Sure.
I wouldn't feel safe doing this without looking like a man.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was tiny and I had a shrill little voice. I wasn't strong. I mean, I'm not that strong now, but I'm a lot bigger. And so I felt like, before as a woman, I needed to keep my head down because I was scared that I would also like invite that onto myself.
Accidentally.
And also, right, just being unprepared. That isn't to say that I think that women are incapable of doing that, but just that I felt incapable because I didn't know. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And now that I do, and I feel capable,
we're going
trying to use my masculinity as, a shield for the people around me to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, femininity is seen as a weakness.
When it's not.
Right. But how about toxic masculinity?
Yeah. I think it's important to recognize and challenge it in all its forms.
Right. Can we talk about Andrew Tate for like half a second?
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know who Andrew Tate is?
No, explain for me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so happy you don't know who it is. And I am so sorry for being the one to inform you. Andrew Tate. Wow. Where does one start? Andrew Tate is a world champion kickboxer.
Okay.
I might be wrong on the world champion, but I'm pretty sure world champion. His dad was like a champion chess player. So Andrew Tate played a lot of chess when he was younger and he did okay, but he didn't do great. So then he got into kickboxing and he was very, very good at kickboxing. And now he's a self-made multimillionaire. And he goes on podcasts and he talks and he runs his fucking mouth about how he made his money, which was essentially prostitution. And he had these women tattoo his names on them. He kidnapped them. He held them prisoner, would not let them go, beat them, essayed them, all kinds of terrible things.
Damn.
And then would go on podcasts and brag about it.
Wow.
And he would, a lot of young boys were his audience, like young men were his audience. And he was teaching these young men how to treat women. And he said, he'd say things like, while he's swinging a machete, saying like, if my woman comes at me all angry that I cheated on her, you just punch her in the face, grab her by the neck and say, bitch, shut up. That's literally like verbatim what he said. I just watched a video.
And we're teaching children this.
Yes. And there's videos on YouTube of young men like recording themselves saying, I needed guidance. I looked up to Tate. He was, he's a successful man, and so I want to be successful like he is, and
That's so sad.
like cool like he is, because he like smokes cigars and he has all these women and cool cars and blah blah blah. And now he was also, there's this whole thing on Twitter because the Romanian government was after him for his crimes that he's confessed to.
Mhm.
And he was hiding because there's a warrant out for his arrest, and he was hiding. And Greta Thunberg, do you know who that is?
Yeah. I know
Okay.
her.
She I think do you remember the tweet? The pizza?
Yes. Yeah.
He ordered pizza, and then he tweeted at Greta Thunberg saying, "Look at me eating pizza, you silly little girl." And then the Romanian police were able to triangulate his location based on the pizza that he showed. So
like,
he's in jail.
Pissed him off, and then he posted it where he was practically, and then they got
right.
him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So he's awaiting hearings. I think he's still in jail, or he got out on bond or something, but I for sure know there's trials that are supposed to happen if they're not already happening. But anywho, he's just like the example of toxic masculinity that like I think of. Like,
right.
If there's a spectrum of toxicity and masculinity,
he's all
he
the way.
is
Yeah.
all the way up, like as much as you can be.
Yeah. There's so much here. There's so much here. I'm in like small town Tennessee. And there's so much here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Constantly. It's like 90% of the time to actually see like a man, like, I mean, you think it's like, you think they'd be like all about like, we treat our women with respect and we open doors and we do all these country shit for all women and like all this, but then you talk to them like dogs, and then you expect them to like have food ready for you when you like at any time you want, like what's like, expect them to like do everything around the house. And it's just, and here it's very popular here.
Yeah.
It seems.
It's sad
very
because
sad.
Number one, you're traumatizing your women.
Yeah.
And number two, poor men who think that they have to act like this, you're setting yourself up for a lot of fucking anguish.
A lot of, for the rest of your life. For a long time.
Because I mean, if the woman stays in the kitchen and makes the food and cleans the house and take care of the kids and gets pregnant, and if that's her job, then your job is the breadwinner. You're the man. You go out and hunt. You bring home food for the wife to cook. You protect the house. You protect the kids. You
repair things. Yeah.
Right. You fix the car. You fix the things that in the house that needed to be repaired. So what if you're a man who gets laid off and you can't bring home the bacon? What if you're a man who doesn't know how to hunt or is bad at hunting? What if you have zero knowledge about cars? What if you don't have any electrical knowledge or plumbing knowledge?
Right.
What if you have trauma based around those things? Because I don't know, maybe someone in your family was injured or something. Like now all of a sudden you're not a man and you have to grapple with not being a man because of circumstances outside of your control. Yeah. That sounds like a bad fucking life, bro.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
I'm still a man in a skirt. I'm still a man in a sequin thong.
Yeah.
I'm still a man with no job and no knowledge on how to fix a fucking car.
No. Yeah.
And I love not having to have that internal conflict.
Yeah.
And the women around me, are treated well by me and enjoy spending time with me.
Imagine that. Imagine that. And it's we're setting an example to the other people that are the younger kids that are seeing these things. There's a lot of to be a good example. You don't have to be cis to be a good example. You don't have to be cis to thrive, be successful, and be you don't have to be a masculine trans man to be a real man, and there's so much confusion about these words, and
Yeah.
and you just don't owe anyone anything except for yourself, your happiness, and it's just
Literally,
like
your
that's
health and your
all.
happiness.
That's all.
And Aaron, I've always thought of you as like the real man. Like you just seem like before I realized that I could be whatever kind of man I wanted to be,
Mhm.
I was trying to be like you. We hadn't met yet, but you were basically like what I would wear my hat backwards, always a snapback. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
just dress and act like you. And
Yeah.
and that's also what I love about us. We're just like two totally different men.
Yeah. I love that.
And we're both trans and we're both men. And
We're both valid.
like, look at
Yeah.
our screens right now. Like,
They're always like this. I love that. I like that's just it's us. Like it's just
yeah.
who we are, and we're just be proud of that. I appreciate you saying that. That's very sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I appreciate you very much. And I love doing this podcast with you. We've got so many podcasts stacked up. We've got a lot of episodes. We've literally put out this is pretty proud. We're pretty proud of this. We put out a video every single week since the start of the year.
yeah. Wow. Go us.
Yes, we've been consistently getting some content out for you guys. If you guys want specific content that like you're thinking of or you're struggling with that specific time, please drop it below. We would love to like talk about it. We might make an entire episode based on the message you send us. So
Yeah.
Or
you could
post
also
it.
DM us. Our
Yes.
Instagram account seems inactive, but we're active.
It seems that way, but we're getting here. We're figuring it out.
Promise. We'll get the
Yes.
DM. I'll get it right away. I'll reply.
We'll find you. You find us. We'll find you, and we will figure it out together. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. You guys seriously are amazing, and I appreciate every single one of you.
Don't be toxic.
Seriously.
Love you.
Don't be toxic and spread the good word about what it really means to be a man.
A man. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Oh my God, I can't. That's it. That's the one. Okay, bye.